Call William La Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Bashem Chakodash. All praises, honor, and glory to our power. Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Bashem Chakodash. That's in the Paleo Hebrew. The Heavenly Father. That's his pure name. And his only begotten Son. That's his pure name. Yahweh Shai. Bashem Chakodash. The name of the Spirit Holy. And of course, giving double honor to the apostles and the elders and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who well, peace and salutation to the elect. Shemiah Mopaz and Mop from the Great Millstone Plaintables Camp of Philadelphia. Let's come in with this we lesson through the Spirit. Hey, a lot to talk about. Hey, still the big flavor of the the past month and these weeks is the whole SNAP thing. With the electronic benefits that many, as they were going to, at least about 42 million people in the U.S. or United States depend upon to feed their families and such. And of course, ranging from the elderly and a lot of different pregnant and different women, even men. Disabled, etc. Okay, has been impacted by this. Okay, and you got it at the same time. Like months are going by because time is flowing, and you have it at the same time. There's a government shutdown. Okay, that's continued to get worse and worse and worse. And you had a judge order. I think it was like some federal judges that came with a ruling for him to pay out these different SNAP benefits. There's a bit of confusion of if it's partial or when or if it already is, if it's all of it. But things ain't looking good for Babylon, and obviously things ain't looking good definitely for Nero 47. Okay, so we got information that's going on. I'm gonna play this first. ABC 33/40 crushing Alabama family braces for pause and SNAP benefits as Thanksgiving approaches. And Thanksgiving is not a holy day we should really be involving ourselves with. That's really a celebration of the destruction of the North American Indians, which you have. They are part of the 12 tribes of Israel, which the 12 tribes of Israel are the Lord's chosen people, and it consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans, and the Israelite foreigners, like into the speckled bird, have been scattered. But lineage go back to by the way of their fathers to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, most of y'all trying to figure out how y'all gonna feed y'all selves on Thanksgiving, and how you gonna feed yourself now. But you have it. Nothing's being really passed completely. Okay, so this is 5 days ago though. You have it here. Keisha, Mama, or Big Shirley, talking what she talked. Fair use warning by ABC 3340 for educational purposes only.
I'm barely making it off that, and so it's no money for food. After I pay the bills.
What bills?
Anyway, then hundreds of thousands of Alabamians will not have SNAP benefits starting on November 1st.
With the lapse in food assistance, local businesses are helping to fill in the gap. ABC's 3340's Megan Serrano, she joins us right now. Megan, you talked to businesses who are stepping up and one woman who's a SNAP recipient.
Ashanti, SNAP benefits.
Let's go to Philly.
As the government shutdown continues, neighbors are helping neighbors.
Them beans suck, by the way. The beans in the can suck, but whatever.
Neighbors are helping neighbors, making sure.
One of them cans of beans, they look like they was through. But that's another story for another time.
Nobody goes hungry.
Good evening to you all. I'm Nikki Dementry. Thousands of families across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware woke up this weekend without their usual monthly SNAP benefits. Now, people in South Philadelphia are doing what they can to do to fill the gap. Our Eva Anderson explains.
At Reed and South 26th Street, this small community pantry is a big help to people like Marlene Flood.
I just want to say this is very much appreciated.
Flood, who relies on SNAP benefits, says she often worries where her next meal will come from, especially now that her EBT card is empty.
It's a tight squeeze, like a food, so you're not getting all the nourishment that your body really needs.
And most of that stuff ain't even nourishing anyway, but whatever, you know.
Thankfully, she found some staples here.
Like, look at all this is like mainly sugar, but hey.
One of 7 South Philly community
sugar and starch, bread, you know, granola bars,
locations, a big
refined oils,
help for her household of 2.
Applesauce.
It's tight, food is tight, and I am retired. And
so yeah, everybody talk about. Yeah, you retire, you know, and oh, yeah, man, you're going to be good. That pension going to be nice. Yeah, look what that fixed income, you know, and that monthly check gets you. You still got this woman still needing government assistance, okay? Well past retirement age.
The struggle is real.
And the struggle is real, so, you know... Hey, and they saying it, okay? Meanwhile, you know, in Philadelphia, you got a lot of people running around on the flip side, you know, seeing who could be the best foodie, you know, and the best influencer. You got people out there just scrapping to see where they can find some free food so that they can feed themselves for, you know, for now and for the future, okay? And that's just these times, okay? The times, it's only going to continue to be rough. But many Israelites, y'all have been just living very, very, very deliciously, you know, and abusing really the Lord's mercy, you know, through having give you the one of all things, or give me, you know, you have to go to him for the one of all things. I mean, it's given to you, but many of you have, as the scriptures are going to in Ezra, have received benefits but not have known the Lord. Okay? And you took in him as the one to trust and to put your faith in. And now that's all failing. Okay? It's all failing. And then, you know, we're seeing, they say, the end of the end time prophecies. Okay? And... This is Psalms chapter 19 or 116 and 9, and it says, "I will walk before Yahweh in the land of the living. I believed, and therefore I have spoken. I was greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars." Okay, yeah, you have it here. You know, men of the Lord, which is King David, you know, and writers, you know, have spoken these words, all right? All men are liars, and going into having Kazab, okay, which is a very Anya, you had Anya's eye, you have Amar, the Ya, which is said, me, and you have Ba Chapaz, Ya, all right, Ba in Chapaz, all right, yeah, in my haste, okay, call all Ha Adam, which is going to man, all right, or the ground, all right, Kazab, which is going to liars, or really going into, when you're going to like a disappointment, okay, I found a liar, okay, and you're finding like, you know, America being made great. Hey, y'all supposed to get all this stuff from the government, and the government is failing you. It says, "What shall I render unto Yahweh for all his benefits towards me?" You know, and we should give all, you know, as we do know, as the scriptures tell us, as believers, it tells us about the whole duty of man. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 12, or 12 and 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High. You're supposed to fear the Most High, Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai and his only begotten Son, Yahushai, in the name of the only begotten Son, Yahushai, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, okay? And this is your duty, okay? It's the mission, man. Fear the Lord, keep his commandments to the best of ability, all right? And look to him for your deliverance. Instead, Jake, they still just looking for whatever handout they can get, and not repenting. We told people, we told the Israelites, we told of the coming famine, we told about these benefits being cut, all right, and such. Let's keep going.
Volunteer Andy Halsey helps out every Sunday and says with SNAP benefits in limbo, he's seeing more people step up.
It really is heartwarming to see South Philly, such a special place. There's so much empathy and everybody's really trying to pull together. We're all in this together, and just to see the neighbors all coming together.
Yeah, because a lot of these people in South Philly, but you got a lot of Hebrew Israelites now in South Philly and stuff looking like out of Guam, but you have a lot of the SNAP recipients are out of Guam, all right, looking like so-called wheat people, but they're the Edomites, okay, and they be getting the majority of these benefits, big payouts and such.
One of those neighbors, Nicole, brought her kids to help stock the pantry. Grateful to help, but frustrated that a government shutdown has left families like hers picking up the slack.
For all of us, so I'm really frustrated.
They got money to throw around.
This is what we have to do so people can actually eat and live. And they should be able to get what they want to eat and not just what's in their pantries.
Yeah, so they just emptying out all the whatever expired food, stuff that nobody want. All right, chalky and hot chocolate. After you done found out it was all GMO, you give it to those that he would say need something to eat or something to drink or just something. All right, and that's all pre-biblical prophecy. This is in the book of Job, chapter 20 and 10, and this goes to the Adawamium, all right, the wicked, all right. It says his children shall seek to please, Job 20 and 10, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods, all right, the poor of Yashala of Israel, all right. This is a way, okay. They do this through these food banks, all right. They also do it with these different programs too, right? But they're going to restore their goods. They're going to restore the goods of the poor, which they have stolen, all right? In which we're going to get the kingdom, ultimately, all right, with Yahushai, all right? You look up, please, and go into Ratzazah, which is the will, right, to please, okay? Ratazah, which is to make acceptable, to seek favor of. A lot of times in these times, we see a lot of these E's, they trying to get favor because they know, as the scriptures say, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust in the grave. Okay, and hey, you could go into, full-blown slavery wasn't long ago, and a lot of these people have profited and still profit, especially here in one of the oldest and established cities in America, Philadelphia. Now you have a lot that they have to pay for. You got whole communities, Germantown, and these different places where Jake be, but a lot of these different houses that Jake, walking around and E trying to act as if black lives matter, which we're not black. There's shades of different hues, all right, of brown, You got Israelites that look like variegated in appearance, but you have it where EU be putting out a whole mission and a whole organization talking about Black Lives Matter, but the Black lives, all right, matters only for them to get the reproach off of them, okay? And that's what you're seeing right now, too, with these people, with these food banks and all of that, man, with these organizations, and it's just to keep Jake be, thinking that everything is all right, even though things are not all right, okay? When you go, I believe in the Apocrypha, you go to Ecclesiasticus, it might be in the latter verses, or 42 maybe. It tells you about how, and if I can find that, it tells you about how I have to get that scripture. See if I can get that scripture through the Spirit. I need this precept. It's escaping me at this time. Yaharatazai comes back to me, but no, it speaks about how. Yeah, there it is. The Wadi Abashim Shai. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 41 and verse 5. It says, "The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly." Okay? Yeah, so they're abominable. Okay? You dealing in the behaviors that are ungodly. All right? You're abominable. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish. Hey, we seeing things get swept away right now, man. And their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. Okay, and we seeing through their generation, their fathers, we seeing that reproach. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. Okay, and the reproach of slavery and all of the cruelty. Even right now with the look at how the Republican Party is doing. Well, what about the Democrats? What are they doing? Hey, you got many different of Congress are still getting paid. All right, in the federal government, while you have federal workers that is not getting paid. And nobody's really talking about that too. Okay, how they need to eat. All right. 29% of Americans are considered low income, living at or below 2,000% of the federal poverty threshold, according to the U.S. Census Bureau 2024 current population survey. The most widely used standard of defining low income in policy research, right? But the correct total is the low income.
But here's what I think
this off of Jimmy Dore.
It's interesting. This is what interests me about SNAP. SNAP is food stamps. So 29% of Americans are considered low income. And so that comes out to be 98 million people in America, or roughly around 30% of the population. 29, 30. Let's round up to 30. So think about that. So in America, 98 million people are low income.
Dang.
In America, the richest country in the world, 100 million people, almost a third of the country, is low income. Now, you also know that half the country can afford a $400 emergency.
True.
You know that, right?
Yeah, we tell you about that here at GREATMILLSTONE. We've been going into that many of times. emergency fund, any emergency pop up, in their bank accounts. Most people don't have that. Okay, living paycheck to paycheck. Even these federal workers.
Okay. You also know that 70 to 80% of people in the United States live paycheck to paycheck.
See? And I like I said, I just watched this, But you gotta hear from the prophets. As I say, we can read the minds of these different online personalities, economists and those that make comedic skits out of the reality of things. Okay. We have the truth here at Great Millstone. Okay, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem El Shai, working through the apostles that have been sent last. Okay, the Lord got the truth bearing with us, and the prophecies are speaking. All right.
Again, this is, what do you call the richest country the world has ever known? What do you call a system that takes the richest country in the world, renders a third of its population low income, half of them unable to afford a $400 emergency, and 70 to 80% of them living paycheck to paycheck?
Dude, that's like, but what's up with the 20% winning?
What do you call that system? You call it a failed system.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. And that's what it's all about, man. Babylon falling. Okay. Never rising again. Okay. Like, this place is finished, man. It says, Revelation 18:7, how much she hath glorified herself, being America, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Okay? America has glorified itself so much. All these witches, right? And celebrating, living luxurious, right? Being in renown, but, this place has been circling down the drain, okay? And you've been living in it. I think like a couple, what was it? Like, earlier today, I went on, on one of the main strips here in Northeast Philadelphia. You had like three businesses. One of them was major. All right, a bike shop. That thing was up for a commercial lease, and this is a bike shop. So what like that been around from serving, Northeast, was like in the Holmesburg area, another one of the oldest neighborhoods in America. You got old, you got some. I think there's some headstones before King Highway around the area by like Welsh, behind Welsh, what's that, Roast Road near Frankfurt Avenue. You have like these old headstones and tombstones that predate, like I think it predate the inception of America. But this place is through. It says Ezekiel chapter 28:4, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Okay? And then now it's like they trying to, look in the treasury, but everything has been corrupted. The money system by what? The bankers themselves. Because this stuff is not the true wealth, which is cattle, gold, and silver. Okay? True wealth and riches, land, but gold, silver, cattle. All right? They got the land, but they got the debt notes that they give people with the illusion as if it is real money. But why is it every year, we've been having to fund another government, spending package. okay, and they're at variance with it. Okay, why is it that these programs need so much money to fund it over the years, and it's increasing to be more and more? Why does the dollar continue to lose its value? Okay, because this place has been depleting, depreciating. Okay, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, which is the merchandise, thou hast have increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And this place has been very lifted up, and so much pride. But now you're seeing the pride beginning to diminish. Okay?
So to me, that's the bigger story here. It's also a big story that Trump was just going to let people not get their food stamps.
And that's your cruel Lord, man. Okay? Because, the scripture tell you never trust thy enemy. And then the scripture tell you about that cruel Lord, man. That as it says, Isaiah 19:4. Okay? And I can even read a bit above. This is, I'll just start a bit above. It says Isaiah chapter 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, American versus Americans, because this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Okay. And they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his kingdom, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. Right. And where this is one reason why people are at variance and at their each other's heats, because of the lack of bread. Okay? Some people are eating, the other people ain't. You're saying 80% of the people are basically poor. You got 20% winning, which really they not winning. They just, a little bit better off than the poor, right? But anyway, in the spirit of Egypt, of America, shall fail in the midst thereof, and it's definitely failing. Okay, bakwach, which is being empty, it's being devastated, and it's being emptied out. Okay, the spirit, and look at how these people is. Like a lot of people, they just tell me flat out, I don't got no money. I just keep going. These people are finished. Okay, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. All right, and the Lord's definitely doing that, destroying the counsel of these elite, the witchcraft. The truth is coming out. Everything's being exposed, and we see what the system is. It's just a trap and a trick for them bankers, which are nothing but high-level witches. They're the Chaldeans, as the scripture is going to the modern day. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And Egyptians, or you Americans, will I give over into the hand or the power of a cruel Lord. You look into that by Barth in the Hebrew, all right, you'll see by Yud, which is in. All right, you got it here. Definitely Matazarium, Egyptians, all right, you Americans, all right, Ba is in, Yud is hand or power in this case, and you have here Adunyum, all right, or Adunyum, all right, which is Lord, right, or Lord, like in a plural sense, like Adun, right. A master, which is, we believe it here, that Donald Trump, all right, Nero 47, and you have Quashah. Quashah goes into cruel, all right, Quashah, meaning to be severe, difficult, stiff neck. Yeah, like this dude definitely making stiff neck, statements, that he don't want to even hand this stuff out, but he hand it out partially, etc. It speaks against telling them to end the filibuster and the government shutdown. Just putting the blame on the Democrats, etc. Let's go.
And So like when you say people, so what you see a lot on social media is people say, oh, these are all immigrants, illegal immigrants, or these are all lazy people, or something like that. Even though we know since 1971, workers have been getting the shaft ever since the Powell memo. So it used to be the more you produced, the more money you made. Well, workers are now producing this much and their pay has stayed flat. We all know that people can't afford houses, people can't afford seniors can't afford their medicine. We know this isn't because there are all of a sudden an explosion of lazy people in the country after the Powell memo. And the Powell memo is that corporations can run the country, which is what's happening.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. A new technocracy. All right. As we go into the fourth industrial revolution, all right, and these different corporations, all right, they dictating what you gonna be able to buy too. Okay. It's gonna be all integrated with the Internet of Things. The Internet, you're gonna be with the Internet of Bodies if you continue to comply when they bring forth with that MOTB. Okay, it's a great, perfect setup.
So SNAP serves 42 million people. So out of those 98 million people that are low income, 42 million of them, 42 million people get SNAP, get food stamps, or about 12% of the U.S. population. Roughly 2/3 of those people are children. So two-thirds, that's 67%, right? Is that what 2/3 is? 67% of the people getting food stamps, getting SNAP, are children. You would think a society would make sure children got food. So what about, so roughly 2/3 of the people, of those 42 million people, 2/3 of them are either children or adults over 60 or people who are disabled. So children, senior citizens,
which is the cruel Lord is being cruel towards,
and disabled people. Those 2/3 of the people. Now the rest of the people,
that's spiritual too.
On there, lots of those people actually work. They just don't. In America, in
they don't earn enough.
Richest country in the world, they don't actually make enough money. They don't actually make enough money to pay for their food.
Or just they just can't get enough, you know.
So 1/3 are working age adults. So 2/3 of the people getting food stamps, SNAP, are not workers. They're not working age people. They're kids, they're children, or they're...
So with all of this, and you know, not all this money is going back into the economy, how's the economy going to still stay up?
Senior citizens. Or disabled. Which leaves 1/3 of them that get food stamps in America between 18 and 59 years old. And employment among them varies. And lots of them work. So Trump says he's going to partially fund SNAP. So they found 2 judges that said that the president has to fund the food stamps, or the administration, the country. And so Trump's going to follow what the judges say. You know why? Because Trump isn't a king. He's not a dictator. He's a regular president like every other regular president.
You can't listen to any of that, you know. And it's easier. The president is commander-in-chief, right? The president's role as commander-in-chief means the president is ultimately in charge of the United States military force, right? When Congress declares war, hey, this man declared war, right? Executive orders against cartels, teas, you know, homeless, etc. President has final say in how to wage war, and he has been doing it. right? In the chain of command, they sit at the top of the hierarchy, and their orders are final. All right. Now, it's been a while since I put this. Commander, right? Order are direct, right? In Slock, we got a demon above me. You know, Arashaika Hashatan, Bahashem Yahweh, Bahashem Hashai, Bahashem Kakodash, Shakwat Shatan, Bahashem Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakodash. Is that a quiet seat? Alright, academic seat. Alright. And the feet. Shakwat. So you have commander, right? Emperor means to command. From Empire, command. So your commander of the cheer is a what? Emperor. So that makes him a ruler. Okay. Makes him as you have it. Like you have it. This is Roman Empire all over again. The Latin word was a title conferred by vote of the Roman army on a successful general. Later, by the Senate on Julius and Augustus Caesar, and adopted by the successors, except for Tiberius and Claudius. All right. Can't believe everything that's said by E, if he's an E. That Jimmy Dore guy brings out good information though. Yeah, but we prove all things as men of the Lord are too.
Who has to follow what the courts say. And guess what he's doing? He's going to follow what the courts say. 2 federal judges ruled on Friday that the administration had to fund the 61-year-old program and gave Trump until Monday, which was today, to submit a plan for how the U.S. Department of Agriculture planned to distribute funds.
So we'll see, hey, what that is. And I think that been state by state, they're going to have to, figure how they're going to do that. Okay, USDA give the guidelines. Hey, the state. Hey, we'll see.
So the USDA, for some reason, are the ones who distribute the money for food stamps that comes from the Department of Agriculture. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said in Monday,
the USDA is the Department of Agriculture. All right.
Agriculture. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said who distribute the aid to submit a plan for how the U.S. Department of Agriculture planned to distribute funds. So the USDA, for some reason, are the ones who distribute the money for food stamps that comes from the Department of Agriculture. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said in Monday's filing that the U.S. Department of Agriculture is complying with the court's order and will fulfill its obligation.
Let's fact check just to be real quick. Yeah, the department acronym is USDA, and it's responsible for development and executing federal policy to regulate food, agriculture, forestry, and rural development. United States of Agriculture. The United States Department of Agriculture is the full name of the agency. USDA is officially common use. Exactly. So just remember, you have a good ear, out there for you Israelites. Look into things. Taste this. Let me get this. I'll show you this precept real quick. Job chapter 34 and 3. For the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat. And what does the mouth do? When you eat things, it separates different you would have it flavors and such. It discerns it up. Okay. It judges it out. And that's the same thing how our ear does. Okay, we're going to listen to something. And we're going to bahanwa. All right, we're going to try it and test it, scrutinize it. All right, so listen. All right. Don't be a fool. Okay, because a lot of people, they don't really look up nothing. All right. That's why here at Great Millstone, we always tell you, to have a, I'll tell you this. Hey, the apostles definitely say the same. Have a mind, all right, of Hamashiach. And y'all, don't be just like the parrot and a monkey. All right, get on that dragon and that owl level.
To expect
of wisdom, which we want to be what? Wise as serpents, harmless as doves.
The full amount of SNAP contingency funds today. The filing noted that the changes states have to implement to roll out reduced benefits could take anywhere from a few weeks to several months. So there's going to be a delay in people getting their food stamps. That's what it sounds like to me. The Trump administration announced Monday that it plans to partially fund SNAP benefits.
So you see what it is, partial. All right? We're telling you what a big change is going on. All right? And remember, the government is still shut down.
So like half for the rest of November, but it's unclear what will happen after that. Food banks have sounded the alarm on increased demand at a time when they're already strapped, serving federal workers who haven't received a paycheck because of the government shutdown. Following the court order on Friday, Trump said it would be his honor to fund the food assistance program. In addition to the delay, the Trump administration also said it was $4 billion short of the expected $8 billion cost to fund SNAP.
Just for 1 month of November. So they already telling me he broke. Okay? It's not enough.
The month of November. Hey, I know. You just gave $40 billion to Argentina.
Right.
Maybe you give Argentina $36 billion, and then you take the other $4 billion from Argentina and you give it to your own people in America who are hungry.
Well, does Habakkuk just be speaking so great? Habakkuk 2:5. Yeah, also because he transgressed it by wine, his philosophy, part of his philosophy is democracy. Hey, giving aid to these other countries is part of that. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as Shawal, or hell, the grave, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And do that. Democracy, this man giving out aid, money he supposed to be giving to his people, but he gives to everybody else. Everybody is so-called an immigrant and they don't like, but then they help the country and fund them. Bunch of confusion.
Did that ever cross your mind? Isn't it amazing how you come up with $40 billion to send it to Argentina, but you can't come up with $4 billion to send to America? I've been saying this forever, and never was it more apparent than when they gave hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. I
better stop. It might say, might say something.
Funding our own country, which is what this is. So, in part because they are declining to tap, so they're not going to tap into an additional bucket, as ABC News puts it, an additional bucket of emergency funds held by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which runs SNAP. So they have the money there, they just don't want to tap into it. The Trump administration. Okay.
Really, like I said, there's different money that you don't want to tap in because you have money that's set aside for catastrophes, disasters, and for war.
the legal fight.
Just referred to one of my previous lessons. You know, this is November the 5th, 2025, hopeful year of the destruction of Edom, Adawam, Esau, and the destruction, in the salvation, pardon me, of the elect of the nation of Israel. All right.
Fight center on the administration's position that it couldn't fund SNAP with contingency money during the government shutdown. So they have contingency money for this, but Trump's administration was saying, no, we can't tap that during a government shutdown. Judges disagreed. Even
so, hey.
Though every previous administration, including Donald Trump in his first term, has used the contingency fund to fund SNAP.
But we're in different times, so leave it at that. Hey, you see what it is, man. A lot of cruelty. Hey, pray up. Shalom to the elect.